closing statement. Thanks, Jeff. Great to see everybody. Awesome time of year. Certainly awesome week, given rivalry week. I know Coach just gave all the skinny on that. For us, overlap season, right, with fall sports still competing and going incredibly successfully. I might add, I'll talk about a little bit for Clemson, and then obviously winter sports getting started, and inclusive of gymnastics for the first time ever here at Clemson. So happy to talk through all of that, but just a very busy and exciting time of year for us administratively and in support of all 21 of our sports. Obviously just want to start with incredible appreciation and thanks for our fans and IPTAY donors, and certainly coming off the last home game this past Saturday. My notes say this was our highest attended season for the first time since 2015. So I don't know what the deputy AD in 2015 was thinking as it relates to attendance and capacity count, but we just came a couple hundred tickets short through a full sellout for all 7 games, which is it's just uncommon. It really is. I know Coach has been so consistent throughout all the his availability this fall, and I would even echo and be really direct of just as far as his discussion and appreciation that he has to the team, and his emphasis that it's just uncommon and different here at Clemson, and it's easy for us to just kind of feel that. We know Clemson's different in that regard, but when you take a half step back, and particularly as you look back and close a home schedule year, it's just really, really special. So Saturday was no different, but this season was no different all throughout, and the appreciation we have certainly for our fans, 22,000 plus IPTAY members. It is just really, really strong and special here. Relatedly, you saw our announcement on Friday about 110 Society, new NIL collective in the Clemson community, and the opportunity that IPTAY and we have from an educational standpoint and awareness within our community about the 110 Society from a collective standpoint, how that is able to work with donors and communities, businesses in our community about opportunities for student athletes. We couldn't be more aggressive and prioritized on how NIL programming, funding, fundraising works in support of our student athletes. It's just really, really necessary. And it certainly continues to ebb and flow day by day, let alone as we continue to add programming and resources and work within our community for the 110 Society, which is now launched as the new collective, how that's transitioned in the community. So you're going to continue to see a very strong presence for education, for awareness, for fundraising opportunities from us and IPTAY, and how that works with the 110 Society for them to work, again, with donors, with businesses, and connect with our student athletes. So excited about that launch. Want to continue to be very present with that, as Coach Sweeney will, and all of our coaches, just from the awareness and resources and prioritization for name, image, and likeness for our student athletes. Excited of where we sit and what's ahead as it relates to that priority for all things that it's important to. I touched on some of our sports and sport updates, and even with the fall sports, certainly soccer's incredible fall for both men's and women's soccer. We host women's soccer on Saturday at 1 o'clock for the chance for first time ever Clemson women's soccer to advance to the College Cup. Coach Radwanski has just built a dominant program here, and the ability to have at Riggs and host the next step towards the College Cup for women's soccer program is really, really special. So excited for Saturday at 1, leading into obviously the road game in Columbia on Saturday evening. I'm gonna do both and try to have a really successful Saturday for both those teams. Following Coach Noonan, certainly in his Sweet 16 matchup with his program on Sunday, which has just kind of become a staple for that program, hitting the road to New Hampshire on Sunday. I think we're one of 2 or 3, Jeff, universities that have both soccer teams still competing at this stage of the NCAA. So really excited for what that has been all season in Riggs. Again, no different than how it's been in the Valley as it relates to fan support and attendance. We were top 5 in the country as it relates to both men's and women's soccer attendance and ticket sales. It's just really thematic throughout all of our sports. Even gymnastics, as I referenced earlier, as we've gone on sale for the first time ever gymnastics season ticket sales. We've sold over 2,500 season tickets for gymnastics, which is also top 5 in the country. Haven't even had a home meet yet. So we'll have an exhibition match, kind of a gymnastics 101 on December 8th and a couple Fridays, and then our first home meet will be January 12th, second Friday in January. So Clemson Gymnastics will be really, really special in our community. Couldn't be more excited about that launch and the competition for those programs. And certainly football or basketball, so both men's and women's, great start to their seasons. A lot of energy and anticipation for both those programs as we get into continuing non-conference play, let alone into conference play later this month, and then through the winter. So a lot of activity, a lot going on, not even to mention NCAA cross country. Gladys Chetnachich finished in the top 25 from a NCAA cross country championship. I know that doesn't maybe get the headlines as much, but first time that we've had a qualifier, let alone a placing that high since 2018. So really excited, again, across the board and all 21 sports, which is certainly my lens here for this fall and winter for Clemson athletics. So facilities updates, happy to dive into those. There's certainly, we've started significant construction on the Watt Family Performance and Wellness Center, which is just south of Jervy and Jervy Gym up Perimeter Road, as we're continuing construction and completion of the women's sports expansion project up at rowing facility up East Beach Road, which is lacrosse, gymnastics, and rowing. So that work continues, which you know is a staple for us here at Clemson, certainly has been over the past decade, and happy for continued progress on those and other projects that we're looking at that I'm happy to dive into. So with that said, certainly rivalry week, excited to see Coach Tanner on Saturday. He and I have been in constant contact as we always are. He's been a great friend and partner with our roles, and as we come together on Saturday in Williams Brice, we'll be happy to gather with him. I actually owe him a text message from earlier on another matter. But the rivalry piece, I caught the back end of Coach Sweeney's stories on Coach Spurrier, et cetera. Certainly for the ADs and for Ray and I, that's a really important relationship and a strong one just from a communication standpoint. So look forward to Saturday, all the things heretofore and beyond that. So happy to jump into any conversation or direction from here.
On football rivalry stuff, you speak to the importance of that rivalry no matter what changes for anybody. And have you guys struck a contract for the next round of that? Yep.
Yeah, great question, Chappell. I don't believe we've struck a contract, and quite frankly, we will and we need to, right? There's the paperworking aspect of it, but yeah, it's just a non-negotiable, and Ray and I have talked about we have and will continue to play that game, period. However, landscape continues to change. Yeah, no conversations otherwise, no mindset otherwise, absolutely.
There's been a lot of, I'm sorry, there's been a lot of talk with the SEC going to 9 conference games as they expand, but even if they do that, still, I mean, I know the SEC canceled this game in 2020, even though both schools wanted to play, ending a long streak of consecutive meetings, but no thought to, discontinuing that at all if they do move to 9 games.
Right. Yeah, the SEC hasn't. I know that's something that they're considering. Yeah, should Coach Tanner and I have talked about that. Should the SEC change their conference matchups? Would expect. I certainly would, and I know his mindset is to continue to play this game. Yeah, period.
Could the date change earlier in the year as opposed to late in the year with those schedules?
It always could. Yeah, it always could. And I know, I guess at various times the rivalry has been played earlier in the season or to start the season or at various times. So. I think we both feel that it's in a really good traditional spot at this last week of the season. So we haven't struck conversations. I would put that as sure it could. And I think we'd have to be responsive to the changing landscape of college athletics as it relates to when that schedule is, right? There's been discussions nationally as it relates to moving the whole season up a week and week 0 and how that plays into the calendar of the month of December and CFP expansion, et cetera. So I think that's squarely in, hey, we need to be strategic and adaptive to just all aspects, changing calendar for the sport or otherwise. But at this point, no active conversations on that.
Per the landscape note, I mean, the elephant in the room. I don't know how else to phrase it, but